Hello, everybody. I'm going to give it just a second and I will get started. Forgive how I look because yesterday kicked my ass. So, welcome, and I will explain what that means and what happened. I have some really cool things to share with you guys, actually. This morning, it's starting to make even more sense to what I did yesterday because as I do these, I'm channeling them. I don't know what's coming, so I'm still processing it. So something really, 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 really cool happened. Okay. So I'm going to talk about that. Something really cool. And it's a full circle moment from back when I did Fiji. Okay. So my name is Juniper Bloom Mystique. I am an ascension master, master healer, and divine guide. I am the one who brought about the ascension. Okay. What does that mean? I literally am the one who brought about the ascension. I had to clear all of my lifetimes from Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus, and then others too, where I didn't actually wake up. Okay. It started in 2019 when I had my Kundalini awakening. Just a really quick recap for those who don't know me or are new on this channel, because there's a lot and it's a lot to process and understand. But the really cool thing is it's all recorded. I upload the workshops on here for you guys to witness. It is witnessed and been processed by many over the last 3 years' time. Those that actually stuck with me and did the work with me and got the healings and went through the portals and so on. So it started with me rising Atlantis. I sat on Saturn. That's actually in this painting over here. Somebody else did this painting for me before I did the work during a reading that I had. That's the energy they read, and they painted it and sent it to me. And we didn't know what it meant at the time. So this painting alone is even more proof. And the person that did it would know that. And she signed it over here. I didn't sign it. It was done in 2020, okay, before I did the work. So I sat on Saturn, rose Atlantis with Hermes, cleared my contract of me dying there. Okay, that was part 1. Then from there, I started doing things to the sun and the moon, clearing pyramids. I cleared Mt Shasta on 11/11 of 2020. Okay, that was part 1 of it. Then after that, I went to Fiji, activated the pyramids there, and that's when I healed the sun. Now, yesterday, 2/22, right when I said that, was a very full circle moment to that. So we did part 2 of Mt Shasta, okay? And I will explain what happened. From activating pyramids in Fiji, then it became the Earth's root chakra, which was always supposed to be that, period. Mount Shasta was never filled with light, ever. Okay, that's what this is. At first I cleared all the souls out of it, and it's on my channel for you guys to see more than once. Okay, I created a very easy version for you to watch, and then the actual workshop is there still. So I encourage you guys to watch them because these are ascension portals that I activated and cleared. All right. What does that mean? Well, the easiest way to explain this is back in the time of Adam and Eve, the Bible will depict that Eve ate the apple, right? It was enticements. That part is accurate about the enticements, but Eve is not the one who took it down in that lifetime. It was actually Adam. So essentially the fallen angel, Archangel Samael, that was a part of yesterday's, by the way. Let's just say he went up in flames. But he came down and basically said he was going to take all of God's power. And then he started manipulating Adam and Eve, trying to entice them, just like they do with all of you every day of your life that you've been here, against your free will, right? Take you through fear, get you out of your free will. And it started that way. All right. And each portal, I talked about that. It's like Revelations 21. It's represented through the gates. These are ascension portals. They're gates. They're the same thing. They're basically like energy centers. They have everything to do with the pyramids. Certain volcanoes are releasing points of that energy as well. So it's all very relevant. Okay. It all really does make sense. Fiji was always the Earth's root chakra. Okay. And way back when, many moons ago, and the Bible depicts it all, Sekhmet, Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, it's all that story. That's all God's lifetimes coming back, trying to take back their earth and getting tempted out of it. Okay. Just like you guys have been many times over. Do this. Oh, I promise you it's of God. And no, it wasn't. And then, oh shit. Just like the V. If you don't take it, you're going to die or you're going to lose your work and we're going to take your money away. Same things. Okay. But way more intense at times. And even Salem, we cleared Salem too. That was a part of it. a part of what they took down. Anything of the light, they like to burn it, kill it, and take it away, because essentially once they fell away from God, it's nothing. It's like a void. It's not really good or bad. It's like a void. You don't have any more life. You don't have any more light. And those that are choosing not to ascend, you either go on the other side and work it out again, or you don't ever return here at all. Okay. And that's what Spirit called it. It's not Judgment Day, because God doesn't judge. It's you reap what you sow, right? It's all karmic related. And either you clear your shadow or you don't. All right. And last night was a very big circle moment for me, full circle moment for me, for what I've brought about. I'm not going to talk about the divine masculine very much. I will tell you briefly, he is still alive. I've asked everybody from the workshop to show up today. We'll see if they do. They might be busy, to help me explain it, because I had a brain bleed during it apparently, and it was really hard to come out of that. But the DM is still alive and connected to only my heart space. He did not show up during it. He was not able to participate. Unfortunately, I was very sad. I couldn't stop crying. I cried very hard during the workshop. It was very painful for me to do it. I almost couldn't do it. And I was supported by God and all of these angels at the same time. And the people that came, that my team, right? The ones that always come to my workshops diligently and do the work with me, they helped me through it as well. And I was very sad. I started crying like an hour before the workshop because the DM did not come. But here's what they told me, okay? I still have love for this person. I don't want another DM. You guys don't understand how important our connection is. And that is actually part of the return of Christ, is the feminine and the masculine coming back together, which will make sense because Fiji, all of it has to do with the sun and the moon. And I've talked about this. Okay. Sekhmet and Horus were the god and the goddess of the sun and the moon. And back in that lifetime, Horus was murdered. Sekhmet was murdered again, and the moon was removed from the sun connection. Now, yesterday, and when I started Mount Shasta, both of those were me repairing the energy of the connection of the earth back to Fiji. I know this is a lot, but it's true. Into the root connection. Okay, so Fiji is now once again the earth's root chakra. And then when I did that, I was able, after that on my channel, you can watch it, I did the workshop for the sun, right? And then I undid the false concept of the moon. Well, it turns out yesterday, and I didn't know this was coming, Mount Shasta wasn't the only thing we did. Okay. It was not the only thing we did at all. And honestly, here's the thing is energetically, my DM showed up, and he tried to help me, and they wouldn't let him because he couldn't do it in the energy. He needed to show up physically. So he didn't die like my first one. Thank God. He is still alive. They did cut our connection, though. He's losing his connection. He's losing a lot of things already. We are only connected at the heart now. And so I can feel him from here up, but I don't feel him in the solar plexus anymore. I am getting songs, though, and I love him. But he has to see all truths, I think, before he can make that final decision. Okay. And so that's what God is doing, because God picked this individual. Okay, my original DM died because he was hurting the ascension. He had a black hole in his heart all the way from back to where Adam and Eve were. Okay, I hope this is making sense now, because my first DM did die on August 30th, a year ago. Because he wouldn't stop hurting the ascension, and he wouldn't stop trying to kill me. Okay, through the fallen angels. I had been fighting 3 of those for a year during that time frame. And so God picked a new DM. And so in God's eyes, this person was the one. He was the one that he chose. And I don't think you should take that lightly, okay, for that person. And so I'm not upset. I'm sad. And yesterday did hurt me very badly. During it, apparently, I got a brain bleed, they said, and they actually had to stop and do a healing on me again. And afterwards, it took me a minute to come out of that. But I see it now, and I had a headache so bad all day yesterday. Oh, my God. And I asked the girls to be here that did the workshop with me, but they're not here right now. And you know what? They all have lives, too, so that's okay. But because I was like, help me explain what happened, because I don't want to forget anything, because we didn't just do Mount Shasta, okay? But Mount Shasta part 2 happened, and then we did the moon. Okay, so I have healed the sun. I've lassoed it, pulled it into our atmosphere. I've rotated it, changed the DNA on it, returned the right DNA to it, done this many years, like 2 years ago. And then I've done many things to the sun, but the moon wasn't touched all the way. And I talked about the Eye of Ra and the Eye of Horus needing to come together, and that being me and my DM. It's true. But Malachi took enough of the blue light yesterday, and I had some of it. Okay, so it was as if my DM was there with me, and we did the work together. At Mount Shasta, there was a fallen angel. There was like this hole under it still. So I had cleared the bodies out of it in part 1. All of the souls that were trapped there, I freed them. And then I started cleansing the root chakra. And then when I did Fiji, I moved the root chakra back to Fiji and cut off life support to California. This is relevant because these fallen angels controlled this whole entire place. It was like a matrix, and that came up again and again yesterday. And I undid a lot of the codes of the matrix again. Okay. This is very important. And this is why a lot of people weren't waking up fully. And I will tell you right now, De La Roca got a download immediately of what I've done. And I saw the downloads going out to those that are connected while I was doing the work. I saw them being sent out through the connection lines, right, of the one. And then De La Roca actually put a video out that was very relevant. So he did like this time warp thing. That I did. Okay. So when I went to Mount Shasta yesterday, guys, this is true. De La Roca's video today, I was like, that's so cool, because that's what I did. I put us into a time warp. It started reversing time. So time is literally going backwards for 3 days. Okay. Because it's undoing what was done at Mount Shasta completely. So the fallen angels came down, got Adam basically to go against Eve. Okay. And that is when Atlantis went down. It's not like it just became corrupt. I don't like the way people talk about it because, you know, they act like it just, she ate the fake apple and it became corrupt. And it was way more complicated than that. Okay. Way more complicated than that. It's basically they hurt them very badly. Okay. They did everything they could to rip the twin souls apart. Adam and Eve, God, masculine and feminine. Okay. That is why our two souls are very important together. But we went to Mount Shasta and we started putting blue light in the top of it because that was needed, right? The DM was not awake when I first started doing this work, my original DM. He was totally not awake at all and very low vibration and did a lot of drugs because that's part of what he was supposed to clear. Part of what I was doing was undoing those ties, waking up my DM, and then we were supposed to finish out together, repair the sun and the moon back together. I've opened up all the portals back to God, and it's just your choice to go through them and heal or not. You have to heal. You have to get the DNA activations and call your power back from every lifetime. I've talked about this because that's what I did through all my lifetimes, which opened up the portals. Okay. So part 1 of Mount Shasta, I cleared all the dirty souls, the souls that were trapped there. They were sacrifices. Okay. So it's like what I heard yesterday is that the fallen angels came down back to the time of like the Hopi prophecy. This is kind of where it came from because I was sitting as a Native American. Okay. And the fallen angel got him to do this. And basically it was brutal what I saw. His divine counterpart at that lifetime got her head cut off by the fallen angel and they used the blood. All right. This is what I undid. I undid it with a scroll yesterday, as crazy as that sounds. And then all of a sudden it was Archangel Samael, they said. And as I was undoing that and removing the blood that was spilled there, and it was supposed to be my DM doing it. So I was in a lot of pain. I was crying through it all. It's recorded. I haven't uploaded it. I don't know that I will yet, but I'll probably make it available on my website because there's activations and healing there. But it was hard to talk about. Okay. So I needed support to get through this. This is what hurt me so bad because I wasn't supposed to undo this. This was a masculine's doing at that time through the death of his feminine. All right. So just imagine that they would come in and they would hurt them, just like in Salem. They would burn them or severely kill them and create fear. Hi, Gigi. Yay. Somebody came that was from the workshop. I'm so happy. I'm trying to explain Mount Shasta the best I can. But I mean, we were all blown away by what was happening yesterday. And I was crying a lot because the DM didn't show and it hurt. Okay. So there was a lot of that. And I did get what they called a brain bleed. that they had to heal. Hey, Jacinta's here too. Woo! Thank you. These are badass ladies that help me through this, that always work with me. So I was trying to explain. The first one is where we cleared out the souls, right? We were prepping it, but I couldn't do the rest without my DM, because my DM was supposed to undo this one because it was done by a masculine at that time against free will, okay? Through Samael, the fallen angel. He was the original fallen angel, was Archangel Samael, and that's the one everybody calls Lucifer. And he burned yesterday. And then Mt Shasta Part 2. You guys, this is very real. I would encourage you to watch my channel because I do these in workshops. They come through me. They happen to me, okay? They're very real, and the proof is there for what I do. I don't make this up. It has affected me physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, okay? It's been a part of my journey. I can't deny it. What's up, Amy? It says nobody's here, you guys. As you guys came in, the number went down to 0. So I'm like, don't leave me. I promise this stuff is real. As crazy as it sounds, it's very real. But Mt Shasta Part 2, okay? The DM did not show up, but he is still alive. All right, I asked God today because I didn't feel him die. I didn't feel like I lost that connection completely. They did cut our connection at the solar plexus level. We're still only connected at the heart, but Spirit said barely, okay? Because he has to see all truths to make a decision through free will, all right? So that's what's going on with him. Once it's complete free will, then he can make the decision clearly, and God will let him go on his way. Yeah, I don't know. They might have somebody else lined up, but I'm just telling you, I asked this morning what happened, if he's still alive, and they said he's still alive and connected, but barely. He has to see all truths. Yeah. Oh, you mean in here? See, now it's going back up to 3. I don't know, Amy. It's so weird. So that is where we're at with the DM. I have no ill feelings towards him, but it did hurt me that he didn't show in more ways than one. And I would think if God picks you for something special, it's nothing to tread lightly on, right? So that's my only comments on the DM. It's very relevant that we come together. We have to come together. That's the return of Christ, okay? And I don't know why the DM keeps trying to block that. I don't know. So that is what it is. But Mt Shasta Part 2, we went there, and I saw this tunnel underneath it. Okay, so I started digging out the tunnel to expose the fallen angel. Then I was given a scroll by God. God handed me a scroll which came out of my DM solar plexus. So they took it from my DM and gave it to me, and I had to read it with masculine energy in me. Okay, and Malachi was holding the other part of the blue light. So he lost all blue light, and he also lost Christ light. Okay. Because he can't take me down, and God thought he chose accurately. And so they're not just giving up right away on him. But then I started reading the scroll at Mt Shasta. Okay, now this gets really good because it wasn't just Mt Shasta, right? I did a lot more than just Mt Shasta, which is usual. As I started reading that scroll and undoing a contract that was created by Samael through a Native American, they literally cut off his female counterpart's head because he didn't want to do it. And they used that blood to sacrifice into Mt Shasta. And that is how Mt Shasta became a very dark portal. And they took the root chakra and put it in Mt Shasta. That is literally what they did. It was never filled with light. It was never meant to be that way. It was created on bloodshed from a feminine and forced into a masculine to create a contract there. And this is what my DM was supposed to help me undo. Because I undid the part that I could and reactivated Fiji's portal, okay? And put the root chakra there. My DM was supposed to... Now, this ended with the moon. You guys, I put this together. It makes so much sense now. Yesterday, after I did the workshop, my head hurt so bad. I felt so sick. I didn't do anything. But today... everything was like, oh, I get it now. Oh my gosh, I get it now. So when I did Fiji, I undid the sun, right? We were supposed to finish undoing the negative concept of the moon, and we changed the moon to where it was connecting with the sun last night. So I saw the figure 8 and the energy going between the sun and the moon was completely rebuilt, reborn, and the DNA was activated. And that's the DNA that went into those that were in my workshop. Yeah, I'm feeling really good, actually. It's not like when I had a blood clot that broke free to the head. I guess they called it like a brain bleed, right? And I felt what they were doing. And I had a horrible headache last night. But as I woke up this morning, all of this was processing. I'm like, oh, this makes sense. And I feel good. Like, I feel okay. I'm emotionally sad, but honestly, I've healed so much since the death of my original DM. It's not affecting me like it once did, thank goodness. But I mean, it took all that I had. I didn't have a lot to give for that one because it wasn't supposed to be me undoing that by myself. But the cool part is as I started reading that scroll that was undoing the contract created by a Native American masculine as they killed his feminine and sacrificed her blood into Mount Shasta. That's what all the souls were there from, was sacrifices into the mountain. Because I guess if you're darkness or whatever, that's where the sacrificial lamb thingy would come from. That's why they thought they had to sacrifice. God says, please don't kill my people. Do not sacrifice. God says, do not kill. Okay. That's not of the light. That's not, you should never take a life. So anything with sacrifices, they were not reading the energy of the light. Do you understand? So, and that's what I heard yesterday, is that all those souls were a constant sacrifice to the darkness. We have to like keep that empowered and going. And they would murder people and trap their souls there. And that's how it was created to begin with. And that's why the Hopi prophecy came full circle, because they said everything I did went with the Hopi blue prophecy, which I still haven't read. But this is all full circle moments for me from the time that I started this journey. Okay. No kidding. So then I was undoing that, and Lucifer, or Samael, whatever you want to call him, he was an angel, Samael. But he's the one who fell away from God and got 2 other angels to do so, whoever they were, I don't know. And he started burning. It was like what I kind of saw was the masculine, like lit him on fire. But again, remember, it's karma. Okay. God doesn't do anything out of the sight of karma. So because of free will, right? Spirit can't go against free will. So anything that goes against free will is not of God, and anything that's said to sacrifice is not of God, period. God would never say, please kill somebody and give me the blood. That's disgusting. And that's part of what I was undoing yesterday. And there's been a lot of that. Look back to the time of Egypt and all of those time frames, and they were sacrificing to the quote unquote gods. And there's no good or bad. I don't know about all that time frame, and maybe gods did sacrifice. It's disgusting. What I can tell you, is being the one who cleared it all and brought about the ascension and the direct descendant of God, is you don't sacrifice. Okay, that's not of God. Slitting of the throat of the Hopi women, and if they didn't, they would cut up their heads off. So that's yes. So that's yeah. And I don't, yeah. That's what was happening. Is Samael came, and they were at the base of the mountain, and there was a Hopi male, and he had a feminine counterpart. And I don't know who these 2 were. I did not process whether or not we were them. I don't know. But what I can tell you is it was a big deal. And the man did not want to comply. And they ended up cutting her head off. And this was disgusting. And I was crying a lot, and I was having a hard time processing this. I was like literally bawling. My eyes are still swollen to this moment. Like, it was gross. And I saw it all, like, just like I do healings on people, and I can see all these body things, and I saw it all, and all the blood was going down this canal and into the mountain. And that's when he decided he would agree to the contract. I mean, obviously he was manipulated into doing so in a very horrible way, just like what happened with Catholicism, just like what happened at Salem, just like what happened with Adam and Eve, just like it's repeated, just like what happened with Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And then she ended up taking his blood, remember? And they created another false contract. You guys, this was like full circle moments for me. Because when I undid the Jesus and Mary Magdalene, there was a false contract written in masculine blood. Remember? And my DM and I were supposed to clear that one together. And then at this time frame, it was written in the feminine blood. So that's why the twin flames and my DM and I are so important to come back together, because that is what they have spent so long taking apart and doing it through horrible, horrible ways. Okay. The cross was not real. It's always been the Ankh. All right. Which they gave to me in my DM. That is the return of God. God is masculine and feminine counterparts, Adam and Eve, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, Sekhmet and Horus. And each lifetime, they spent anything they could to rip them apart. And that is what I have been repairing and opening back up the portals to God. Okay. Now, each person has to go through those portals regardless. And you either choose light or dark, call back your power, get the DNA activations, and undo your karma. It all makes sense. Okay. So I began reading the scroll at Mount Shasta, undoing that false contract. The blood started being drawn back out and given to back where it came from. But De La Roca said today that we were in a time warp. Did you see that? And he had like the circle. And I said, I'm reversing time. So all of a sudden, I put time backwards because it was undoing all of that. It put her head back on her body. All the blood came back. They were back together. It undid all that was done. And for 3 days' time is being reversed. And when I do these, the Akashic records are recording, and I saw the lights go out to the star seeds and light workers. Landria Anka specifically said this morning, oop, anchor in now, right? And then De La Roca was like, ooh, we are in a time warp. That's because I put the time backwards, and I'm getting a lot of chills. For 3 days, time is reversing and undoing all that was done with that. And it's being eliminated through the collective soul. So if you've ever done rituals at Mount Shasta, and I know quite a few people who have, you did not let light in, you let darkness in. You will be energetically requested to purge that, and you can through free will or not. You don't have to, but if you don't get to ascend because it was not of God. Okay. I hope to God people actually watch this video because it's very important, and they can think it's crazy all they want, but it's very real. It was recorded. The ladies that were here today with me were actually here there with me yesterday and witnessed it, but they've also witnessed everything I've done. And if you actually go back and watch it all, I didn't know this was coming. I had no idea who I was back then or what was happening. It only started making sense in this past year. Okay. That's when everything was like coming full circle for me. But as I was undoing that contract, fallen angel Samael, his black wings and all, he started burning from the feet up. He lit on fire and he burned and turned to ashes. And all of that time is being reversed from the damage that he has done. Okay. And that's what I did. And then Mount Shasta cracked. California cracked very big time, more than 2 or 3 times. I cracked it. And then it dropped down, like it dropped. So let's say like, it's like right here, right? California to the rest of the planet. And then it cracked. And then California went boop. And then I saw the water go whoosh and do what it needed to do. Then from there, I went to lightning struck Dubai. And apparently they have a resort there that was Atlantis, which is disgusting. Dubai was not created by light. It is not of the light. And we lightning struck it. Then I went to the moon and the sun. And this is what my DM was supposed to be helping me undo, because it was a masculine that did this one, especially. And the moon relates to my DM. Okay. I did something to the moon. There was like a dark crystal in it, just like they had in the core of our planet. And I took it out and crushed it to pieces. And then like replaced it, repaired it. The DNA was repaired. And that went back down into the ladies that were with me and into the earth and for the collective soul as they're ready to receive it. And then the sun and the moon, I saw the figure 8 between them, and they were finally able to read each other again completely. And that's when they said a new king is born. I don't know what that means. Maybe they did pick another DM, but I don't think God wants another DM. God picked this one. And so it's upsetting, right? Like, I think people need to take it seriously, especially if God gives you a gift, do not mock it. Take it seriously. Okay. That was the energy I got from that. And it did hurt me badly to do that one by myself, but I'm not going to not do it either. So this explains everything. This makes so much sense to me. It wasn't just about Mount Shasta. It was undoing the final contract from the fallen angel that was there. It was the final one. There was more my DM still has to do because there's more to correct in the balance. And then we fixed the moon. This is why people couldn't see clearly. And you guys, as I was doing this, it was like waking people up, waking them up, waking them up, waking them up. And they were getting downloads of what I was doing. And De La Roca today was like, we are in a time warp. And I literally took us backwards in time. It was like, I reversed time. And because it's clearing all that was done by Samael. Okay. So that's what we did. It was bloodshed we had to clear out of there. I eliminated the fallen angel, Samael. There was 2 left, but they have no power now, and they will be eliminated regardless. So Samael burned into ashes. He became nothing. The contract was undone. What was done at Mount Shasta was completely reversed, and that's why the time is going backwards for 3 days. And all of that karma for those individuals that created it or partook in it is being spewed back out. Now, they have to clear the energy of Mount Shasta. If they did any kind of spiritual rituals there, partook in any way there, is not of the light, and that is part of a shadow that they need to purge. And I can already tell people aren't going to listen to me on that one. And that's not up to me. That's their free will. Good on them. Okay? But they won't get to stay here. It is undoing. So I didn't just clear it. It reversed the time back to it. I saw that lady's head go back on. It's like it never happened. Okay. It is being erased out of the collective soul. And everybody is awakening in a very big way because of that one. And the sun and the moon had a figure 8 between going through them, and they were reading each other's energy, exchanging all of that. They could see each other clearly, feel each other clearly, read each other clearly, so that they knew what to do accurately because they were not in an accurate alignment. All of this was like, whew, it made so much sense today. I was like, holy shiitake. And it took me back to Fiji. You guys, and I don't have Fiji workshop anymore. It's only in the video here. It's been like erased or something. I can't find it in the emails. Thank God I uploaded it on YouTube for all that it was, because I can't find Fiji. But the emails were there. The link was there. It's just been erased. That's why I have a new hard drive where I'm going to upload everything onto it. But thank God it's on my YouTube channel, though. I did upload it on there. And we did that one in 2021. That's when it became the root chakra again. And I did things to the sun. Okay. So this all makes very much so sense. So my DM not showing up was very painful, not just for me, but for him and for the collective whole. But I got it done. Again, he wasn't there. There's no masculine that was able to stop the work. I've surpassed it again, and it hurt to do so very badly. So I don't think I forgot too much of anything. Dubai was struck by lightning because it was very dark. They had like some weird energetic thing there that I struck. And then, oh yeah, they want me to talk about the codes in the matrix. So there was something to do with your cell phones after I undid the part of the moon. Okay, there was something in the moon. And then a couple more satellites were like demolished. But there was like these codes I had to undo in the matrix for AI and for the cell phones. And it did have to do with the moon. And the first time I did the moon, a satellite fell out near Oregon. And I said they couldn't listen in anymore, or their ears would bleed. So all of this actually makes a lot of sense. And California, I cracked it big time. It cracked all the way down the fault line. And let's say the earth is like this. It went like, and then the water went. Okay. I don't know if you guys are still here. It's showing me only 2 people are here and not many are commenting on anything that happened. So I feel a little bit alone, but I don't think I missed anything. It all made a lot of sense, and I'm actually energized. So I knew he didn't die, because if my DM died yesterday, I wouldn't be okay. I was not okay the first time. I don't want to lose him. I'm like thinking like this whole time, like he was there in the energy. He has shown me love. He did show up yesterday in the energy, and he tried to sit on the throne and hold my hand like he's done before. And Spirit said nope and took him out, because it needs to be taken seriously. Like this is a very big deal. The return of Christ is the twin flames coming back together. Okay. David died as a sacrifice because we couldn't close the dome of protection. Otherwise, if that wasn't happening, he wouldn't have died. You know what I mean? But we had to. We had to get him out of the fallen angel. We had to close that protection because we almost didn't make it on the ascension. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just doodling. That's what I do when I channel stuff. So I don't know if you guys can't comment. I don't know where everybody went that was here. Gigi, Saint Amy was here. I don't think I forgot anything at all. I'm not sure I'm ready to watch that video over because it was very, very hard. I started crying about an hour before, and thank God for Saint. She was messaging me and helping me get through that. And then during, my head hurt so bad. And then after, my head hurt so bad. And I remembered they were like cauterizing it. Like it was like this, like, it hurt. And I could see these flashes of lights when they were healing it. Because I wasn't supposed to be doing that one alone. I was supposed to be with my DM. But that's what happened with Mount Shasta. That is not a mountain of light. It was filled with nothing but shadow and darkness. Gigi said it was so much, and I am still processing it. It was a lot. Oh my God. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So the DM was causing bloodshed. So they did have him cleanse that. They did do that. Yeah. That's what that, whoa, I just got chills. So they cleansed him. And I do remember God saying that they will deal with that outside of the workshop because it's not to hurt me any further, right? I didn't want him to die. I was freaking out. I'm like, I don't want to see another DM die. Literally went into that one freaking out. And I was trying to open my heart and not have expectations. And they kept saying he didn't die. And today he didn't die. I still hear some of his songs that were original from him. And I can only feel him in here. And it's barely. It was such a strong connection, but they cut that cord. That way I don't feel his pain or anything that he has to experience. So he did have to clear what he had accidentally caused. I'm not so sure he did it on purpose. And I think that's why, I think I'm going to read that in just a second, but I think that's why they are showing me what they're showing me. So that way he can choose through free will. Because let's just say you don't see everything clearly, right? Like he knows who he was, but maybe he wasn't seeing everything clearly. They want to make sure it's absolute through free will because that's the only way God can do things. God cannot do things out of the shadow unless you do it to yourself. Okay. So God's not going to go and take out another life because number one, that would hurt me and him, and then we would have to start all over with somebody else, and that wouldn't be good either. And God chose this person for a reason, and I already love this person very much so, and so I'm kind of happy with that the way it is right now. I'm not looking forward to any kind of pain from that. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. I do know though he had to clear what he was causing because it's in the karma. And then Jacinth says, yes, you speak absolute truths. Everything you shared about yesterday's workshop is very real. It was seen, it was felt, and it was witnessed. Full circle moments for sure. And Jacinth, I even messaged you too because there was another full circle moment in there about you and Mary Magdalene. And I was like, oh my God. Because it was weird that you tapped into that both times from Fiji and Mount Shasta to this one was about the sun and the moon, and it was insane. And then it was just such a weird full circle thing. Like, and I'm processing it still, just like you guys are. So I'm like, whoa, we did that. And it makes sense now from the sun and the moon. And I didn't realize there was more to do for the moon. All I knew is that he had to correct the balance for Mount Shasta. That's all I knew. And that I've been saying for like a month now. I'm like, the DN has something to do with Mount Shasta. I didn't know there was a fallen angel. Like when I cleared the collective shadow, if you guys remember that, I went through these tunnels, right? I went underground through these tunnels. And I think that's the time Euphrates dried up right after that. So if you think what I do doesn't affect the physical, you're wrong. It does. Things have happened in the earth since I do them. Yes, you read it. See, I know, isn't that so cool? And the DM and DF, because that's who we are, the sun and the moon, the goddess of the sun and the moon. And that is even what Dolores Cannon even says is God. God is the sun and the moon. And so I'm like, holy shnikes, Batman, this all makes a lot of sense now. Oh my gosh. So all I thought it was a simple DM putting his energy at Mount Shasta or something. But I had no idea it was actually going to end with the moon and the sun being returned together. Yes, exactly. Except for the DM is still not complying. And this new one does not, like, I don't think he realizes he won't be here if he doesn't comply, because God picked him to fulfill that prophecy, because my DM had to die because he was too far in the darkness. Okay. So this is the work of God. And if he doesn't step up, they will do what they have to do. But I don't think God wants to pick anybody else. I think he will if he's forced to. But the DM has to choose between full will, free will. And if you can't see clearly, which is what the darkness always does, that's what they did with the V. That's why this year I'm removing my kids out of school completely. I will be homeschooling them by myself because they're forcing vaccines. And I'm like, I don't feel right about any of them anymore. I was never an anti, like they went to school, they were where they needed to be. But yeah, Amy says that is correct. I feel like you did not mean to do what he did. I feel like you were right and he could not see clearly and didn't realize what he was doing. Yeah, and I got that yesterday. That is the feeling I had from it, because when they said the new king was born, I didn't feel he died. I never felt he died. I did feel some pain in there, and that's when they cut the cord to our solar plexus. So they did remove some of our connection, but I still feel him in my heart. And I hear one of his original songs that he was giving me a while ago. So it's almost like he's starting to see clearly again, and I don't want to mess that up. And they told me tread lightly, like, don't be mad. You know what I mean? Because when, like, there was still parts that I had to heal before, which I've healed those. So there is no ill will really at all. It hurt me to do it. I'm not going to lie. Even God said I didn't have to do it. There was a moment in there, and I remember Gigi saying she even asked for help. And then all of a sudden, all these angels came up with their hands on me. God put his hand above my head and was filling me with light. And he said, I don't have to do it. But I knew I needed to do it. I knew it needed to be done. Yeah. Yep. So much love to the DM at this time. Exactly. Like, oh, and the chills. I had no ill will towards him after. I was like, please be alive. Please be alive. Like, I was like, I don't want to lose another DM. That's not a fun thing to go through at all. At all. And if God picked this person, there's a reason. And that's the feeling I got from God. And God said that, like, I picked the right one, And so, in other words, if God gives you a special opportunity or a special gift, it needs to be taken seriously, Justine says, it's incredible to me that you were well enough to facilitate this live today. Yesterday, the powerful work, it did take a physical toll on my body, and I had a brain bleed, and I didn't realize that right away because I think I was channeling beings in there, right? And so I didn't realize that right away. And then afterwards, you guys kind of helped me like come back too. And then pieces were coming back. And I remember I saw like these flashes of light in my head, and they were doing something in the back of my head, and it hurt so bad. And all night last night, I had a horrible headache, so bad. It was just like this horrible headache. And I didn't do much last night except for drink water. I was going to finish my painting that I'm doing, but I even couldn't do that. They did. The angels, gods, and creator helped heal me. I remember that. And then I also remember my Pleiadian friend that used to come and decalcify our third eyes a long time ago when I first was starting this work. That same individual, she was there too. I remember that because at first it wasn't clear, but I started getting more information about it. Like it started becoming clearer today. And I felt fine today. I was like, oh, thank goodness. I feel good. So I feel like they did a really good healing on me. And it might stem from what happened to me with the blood clot last time, because it did go to my head. Then that was painful. And I couldn't think straight for like weeks after that one. But this one, I don't feel so brain foggy. just slightly. Last night I wasn't talking right. My head hurt pretty bad. And so I just chilled. Like I didn't do much. I ate a salad for dinner and I just relaxed. But today I was like, I feel my DM. I think he's still alive. And I asked God about it. And God was like, tread lightly. Like, don't be a bitch about it. Although God wouldn't say that. Aw, Gigi says, I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. Yep, I was hearing that song too a little bit. I'm not going to lie, guys. My head is still sensitive. Like, I still feel a little pressure when I move too much or do too much. It's like, meh. But I feel okay other than that. And my DM's alive. And so that made me feel okay. It hurt that he didn't show up. I'm not going to lie. But I did see like shackles on him and they did make him clear that karma somehow. I don't know how. And then what God is telling me is he needs to see clearly. Okay. We are connected, but barely. So I felt that. I felt them cut our connection at our solar plexus. And when they did that, it was scary to me. I didn't like that feeling. But then I would feel his heart. I could feel his heart and I would feel some love. And I could feel the love. It like rises up into my throat chakra. So that made me happy, but we can't force him. He just needs to be able to see clearly before he makes that decision. Because God chose this person for a reason. So God's not taking that lightly either. But we have to come together. And I can't imagine having a third DM. Jeez Louise, like, what is wrong with me? I don't take it personally. It's hard for somebody to have to come out of a normal life and to say that they do this work and be able to accept judgment. Or maybe he's like in a relationship and she didn't want to let him go. We don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. And I don't want to assume anything about him. But I do know that it's not easy to put these things out there. It took me a long time to accept doing it, to accept who I was, and to feel free talking about it in the public eye because people are assholes. They really are. So many people, and that's what we showed in this last missing persons case. Regardless of what happened to her, everybody wants her to burn, basically. It's like they just put her in jail. People are like, it's so wrong the way people act. Okay. So regardless of what the DM is going through, I don't want to take it personally on me, but the fact that it's hard to accept in your reality. It is hard to put yourself out there and being willing to accept the backlash. Aw, thank you, Amy. She's like, nothing's wrong with you. You're such a loving person. I truly am. Like, I'm a big lover, not a fighter. I have a bark. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't put up with shit. My ex-husband used to beat me, hurt me. Like, it was bad. And you know what he would tell me is, you're not abused. You fight back. And I didn't punch you in the face. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Cower in the corner? Like, so I have a bark. But I truly am a very sweet person and a very loving person and a really good lover. And so I don't want to take that personally. But, you know, it is a lot when you think about the way people judge and look at you. And it is a lot to come from being a normal person, let's just say that, quote unquote, to God putting all of these chakra activations in you, all of these power now, being a healer he doesn't understand, and having a responsibility of the collective soul. It's not easy, and that's a lot to process. And during that time frame, we were attacked, okay? And I was not being able to fight that because I was tired and made some mistakes since he and I connected. So is it a chance that he couldn't see clearly? Yeah, it is. He's slightly behind me. So if yesterday I'm like, oh, just see through love, maybe it didn't get to him in time. Okay. Maybe he was still scared. Maybe he wasn't seeing clearly. We don't know. I know he watches the videos, but I don't know when, right? Like there could be a delay there. And so I hold space for all of that. I don't want to say, oh, he doesn't care. I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a hot second. I believe he does care. I believe he didn't see clearly. And I believe in the energy he really wanted to be there. Because that's what I saw. All of a sudden, he sat next to me on the throne and he held my hand in the energy. And they said, no, you can't do that. And then they did connect disconnect our solar plexus, but we are connected at the heart, and he's still alive, but barely. Okay. So I still hold out that God chose right, and he's going to show us all, right? But I still have to do good for me. I can't go into a negative space. I can't allow anything to take me down either. Okay. But yesterday was amazing to see the moon and the sun be completely back together. And that figure 8, you guys, was a symbol they gave me when I first had my awakening. Oh, there was something I forgot. So in this painting, there's a triangle with the eye, right? The triangle with the eye. Yesterday, when we finished it, that triangle with the eye. So when I was doing Mount Shasta, there was actually alien ships above it, and one of them looked like a pyramid. And then when I was done with that, and the moon and the sun were returned with the figure 8, the triangle with the eye went above the pyramid in Fiji, and it was returned home. I almost forgot that. And it says I lost everybody. It says there's only one person left here. YouTube always lies to me that way. But did you guys remember that? I just remembered that. So above the pyramid in Fiji is underwater. Okay. And I activated that one a long time ago. It ended with the triangle with the eye being put back above Fiji. She just says, yes. See, somebody's still here. Woohoo. And so I remembered that. I'm like, oh, it was returned home. Now think, and then they showed me all the ways they manipulated that against you. It was on the dollar bill. It was like on all these places. And that was returned home, which is Fiji, which is the Earth's root chakra. So the fallen angels took that power to Mount Shasta and then would have sacrifices at Mount Shasta to keep, I don't know what you want to call him, a vampire. Like, why do they need bloodshed? I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me, because God doesn't need bloodshed. That's against God. Like, you don't take life, because when you do that, you hurt that the one. We're all connected to the one. We're all connected, right? Amy says, I'm here. See, I don't know why it says nobody's here. YouTube likes to make me think nobody cares. I'm all alone, but I'm not. And the DM doesn't realize he's already got a ready-made family, and people will accept him because the truths are there, right? But he'll probably take backlash, and so that's there. But that triangle with the eye was returned above Fiji, the pyramid in Fiji. It was taken, a part of Mount Shasta being a fake entity. They took the energy from Fiji, which has 333 islands, which is very relevant, by the way. Watch the pyramid in Fiji, because I talk about that, the activation. Which, you guys, I can't find that one. It's erased out of everything. The only evidence I have of that one is the YouTube video I uploaded it to. So I was really sad. I went through our emails and everything, and somehow that one's gone. But thank God I uploaded it to YouTube. So you can watch it on YouTube. The whole entire workshop is there. But I couldn't upload it for people to get the activation. So I'm trying to figure that one out. But because I know Lisa needed those activations, and I want to make sure she gets them. See, Just Saint is here too. Oh my gosh. It says one person's here, y'all. And you guys are all still here. Lion bastards. So I know you guys participated, and you've sat through this whole video, and you've supported me the whole way. So if you would like a message, I do have cards here. I'd be glad to give you guys one for those that participated for free. But the reality is that the fallen angels came down. They took everything God was. They kept ripping apart the masculine and feminine from every lifetime, including Native American time frame. And I kept saying Hopi. Oh, and there was another part of that one. They put this light down my tongue, and I returned the native language back to where it should be. So I brought back our native tongue. I remember saying that. And then I was sounding like I was speaking in tongues. So the pyramid with the eye, the triangle with the eye got returned to Fiji. Yeah, I remember that too. I got to bring back the native tongue through the Native American, the Hopi. I got to undo the trauma and the bloodshed that was done, and his wife became whole again, and they hugged. That was the reversal of time. So for 3 days, time is reversing, and De La Roca, boom, did a video on that today, and he didn't watch what I did. He wasn't in the workshop. So it was done on February 25th of 21. because I went in the emails and I clicked the link and it's no longer anywhere. Like it would not come up. I've been looking. There was a hidden shadow one though that I found that was right after that on the 28th of 21. But the one for Fiji is gone. I looked in the emails and the link is there and it just goes to a nothing file. So I was so sad. So I don't know if any of it, unless you downloaded it to your computer, it may be gone, but it is in the videos. It's in YouTube. So you can actually watch the video on YouTube. The whole entire workshop is there. Thank God, right? Whew. That's why I'm glad Spirit nudged me to do those things. Spirit nudged me to put those out there because I wasn't doing that. Yes, and return the Hopi DNA also. See, I forgot all this. Why I'm so glad we were all here. And I returned the Hopi DNA and we got the native tongue. So they caused bloodshed from that time frame, like it was constant. And so in order to keep Lucifer, his actual name was Samael. It was Archangel Samael, and he became a fallen angel. And he required bloodshed sacrifices. I don't know why. Is like a vampire. Did he need a drink? I don't know why. I really don't understand it. Thank you. Awesome. Hopefully, maybe if you downloaded it to your system, you might have it. I hope. I don't know. But either way, it is on YouTube, and I will try to see what I can do to make sure she gets those DNA activations as well. But yeah, so we returned a lot. Yesterday was not just a simple workshop, but they never are. It was part 2 to Mount Shasta. That is why people couldn't see clearly. Okay. So Mount Shasta and the moon and the sun being messed with, the moon and the sun being separated. They controlled the moon completely, which is kind of explains why David died. My DM. I couldn't get him out of the shadow. He had a black hole in his heart and he didn't survive. And that's why they picked my new DM, because he has a pure heart. So I have a hard time thinking that he doesn't want to ascend and he doesn't want to be of God, you know, because it's very real. And I know lots of people who would go do ayahuasca, Mount Shasta, lots of healing rituals. The academy I came through, a lot of those people did that. She even like lives right near there. And I'm like, oh, that explains a lot. That explains so much why they went dark a long time ago. And if they could just purge it, like everybody has to purge that part of the shadow. If you've ever done rituals at Mount Shasta, it was not in the light. You have to purge that. And I'm not going to lie, I don't feel 100%. I feel nauseous. My head is dizzy. So I'm not great, but it's not like when I had the blood clot and they had to remove it because I was not right for days and my mom made me go to the hospital on that one. But when you truly think about everything they did, it was like create fear, manipulation, to rip apart God, to rip apart masculine and feminine, to cause the imbalance. They changed the root chakra to Mount Shasta, and that was where they would do all these bloodshed sacrifice rituals. And that is all the souls that I had to remove. There were alien spaceships there. And then I returned the triangle with the eye to Fiji above the root chakra pyramid there. This all makes sense. And the sun and the moon were returned, and the figure 8 was between them, which is a figure I would also see when I first woke up. So when I had my awakening, I would see the figure 8 in my mind's eye a lot and the triangle with the eye a lot. Now I get it. That's what I was returning. The balance between the sun and the moon, the masculine and feminine God. Oh, sweet. Just Amy says, just as Amy will do, I have a look as well. I'm not sure if I downloaded it, but let's see if I can still access it through my emails. Awesome. Yeah, I couldn't. So let's just pray somebody can. We have the evidence because it is uploaded to YouTube. I was just hoping to give her the access to that workshop for the DNA activations. So maybe, hopefully, we might be able to bypass it for her. We'll see. Because I am who I am, right? So maybe I could pull something out of our sleeve. I don't know. But it was a really cool workshop to watch and witness either way. So I would encourage you guys to do so if you haven't and you're new here. These are all on my channel. They're all in my Ascension playlist. They're all over my channel. These are workshops where they say, oh, we're just going to clear this or we're going to heal this. and I go in like do do do, and I channel it all, and it just comes through like so much more than that. So this painting, look, oh my gosh, you guys, if you look at this painting right now, look at this. I'm just seeing this now. You see it? Okay. This was Mount Shasta. These were the souls I was clearing. You see the triangle with the eye right here? I didn't even realize that until just now. I didn't paint this painting. Remember, this painting was done by this person in 2020. She was somebody that I met in that academy. We were doing exchanges for learning. And she did a reading on me. And this is what she saw. And she painted it because we didn't understand it. And I'm like, well, I need to stand on the portal. She's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know what it means. But I stood on the portal, which makes sense because in Atlantis I died and I had to clear my contract. But I also had to clear the contract that was there. You guys, this makes so much sense. Full circle moment. Here is the eye with light going into the Mount Shasta clearings. And after I did yesterday, I didn't realize this till just now. I put the triangle with the eye back in Fiji. Aw, no, not really, but that's you. But congrats and you're welcome. And all I will say to that is make sure that you just follow those nudges from the light without hesitation. All right. So follow the nudges from the light without hesitation, because when we don't is when we get cut off from that light. My DM is a really good example of that too, right? And you don't really want that. I think through free will, we would all truly choose the light. Why would you not? The other is very void and you suffer because you have to learn all these lessons and learn what love is and work your way back to God. And it's not exactly fun. I know in my other DM before he died, I would feel that. It was very painful. It's like eating your favorite food and you can't taste it, right? And I don't know if that relates to why they need sacrifices of blood for the fallen angels or what. But you guys, I just realized that as a full circle moment, the triangle with the eye was here for Mount Shasta. And that was part of me returning it yesterday. This was bigger than we know. They always are. This was way bigger than even I knew. Holy shnikes. I just realized that. So I had no idea. So now everything on this painting has been done. Everything on this painting has now been done. I did not realize that until just now. I was always wondering. I just figured it was there because I would see it. But it's in relation to Mount Shasta. So that is how they controlled what people saw. That is how they controlled the light frequency of this planet. And it has been returned to God. It has been returned to the way it was always supposed to be, the way God created it. Wow, I know. It's like, look, dude, like it's right there. This painting was done in 2020. Mount Shasta was done in the end of 2020. This painting was done before the first one. Absolutely. I would definitely. Yeah. So like I said, it's like I feel like it's just back a couple portals and was just not following those nudges, and you saw something you wanted and you took that instead and like let everything else go kind of a thing. And we tend to do that, right? We tend to think that we know better than God, or hey, this was what I wanted, so I'm gonna let everything else go. But when we are a part of this ascension and we have these little nudges or we take part in these things we may not understand, what you don't realize is that you're closer to God than you know. And God has set you here for a reason. Just like with my DM, he picked him for a reason. He doesn't want anybody else to do it because he didn't pick anybody else, right? And so God sees stuff in us that we may not see here, but it's in our heart that's there. Like De La Roca, right? God put it in his, like we saw the lights go out to the star seeds and light workers for the work I did. And then today, Landria Anka had a video that was kind of similar. And De La Roca literally was like, we are in a weird time continuum, like a time warp. And that's exactly what I said that I did. When I undid Mount Shasta completely yesterday, returned the eye, I reversed time for 3 days. It's going backwards and shoving all that karma out to where it belongs. That's why I say, if you ever did any kind of spiritual work at Mount Shasta, heal it and heal it now. It's a piece of shadow you can't carry forward. You cannot. And if you don't want to heal it, that's your choice, right? You just can't go to God. This all makes perfect sense now. And I didn't realize that triangle with the eye was shining light into the Mount Shasta. I had no idea that's what that meant, you guys. It was literally above Mount Shasta so that they control what you guys saw. That's why I said we have to get the masculine and feminine back together. Yeah. So, Amy, I would also say that he's far behind. He's not awakened like you are. He's just behind. And remember yesterday it came out, that's why the DM kind of had some karma to heal, is because the DMs took a hit because of what he did. It's unfortunate. You don't realize the power, though, that we are. It's like a responsibility. It's not something to tread lightly. And people don't understand, right? Because there's two individuals on this planet that really do control the earth now. And anybody that's connected to us as well. Yeah, and he will. You can't rush it, right? And remember, too, is like you could like give him all these workshops, but it won't work unless he does equal exchanges. But as you keep following that light, remember when I said it's like an internal, even though you guys are together physically, it's still an internal journey. So that's why you follow that light. When you follow the nudges, he does the same in healing. Okay. So I think that's all that happened. It's just that, kind of saw the DM thing and you're like, yeah, I got what I wanted. And maybe we didn't follow the light, but God was like, you need to shine that light. shine it bright. Because as you do, you heal. As you listen to those lights, you heal. When you heal, he heals. So that's the perfect part about it. But also the DM kept the DMs behind. So that's not your fault at all. I don't want you to think it is. That's why they cut his hand and he shed some blood energetically, because he can't, what he doesn't realize is like me, if I choose at this point, especially after all the work that I have done, to step off and not listen to God, it doesn't just affect me. I wish it did, but I don't, that's not my birthright, right? So I affect everybody on this planet, especially those connected to God's light. So in the feminines, all of the feminines carry my light. My DM, all of the masculines carry his light. That's the leader of the 144,000. It all makes sense now. And it is a responsibility, and it's not an easy one to step into. And then people don't understand and they just judge you. And it hurts. That's not of God, right? So he will get there when you finish, when you do those nudges, when you do those healings and you follow God. And I don't think it's just about healings, right? It's about life choices, life changes, those kinds of things. He heals because you heal. He sees the light because you're seeing the light. Same thing with me and my DM. Okay. If I get out of balance and if I don't listen to God, if I don't listen to my nudges and don't show up for the workshops, my DM would never be able to see, right? That's why I had to do what I had to do to wake up David and fight for his soul back like we did. It makes so much sense now. It's a responsibility. It's heavy. And you guys have your own responsibility with it, right? You do. Yep. And Gigi, it wasn't just about witnessing and helping, was it? Because look what you did first day out in my one-on-one academy. If you hadn't done those workshops, you wouldn't have been ready to do that either. So I think honestly, it was following. Yeah. See, every one of you followed God. You came to the workshops, and it was not just about witnessing it, because each one of you had a purpose in healing that aspect within yourself. And as you do, you rise and you rise and you rise. And that's why people who stopped listening way back when, they've missed too many marks, because we've hit so many marks, so many. And if God is like, you're supposed to be in this specific group for a reason, because you're beyond that star seed and light worker. You know what I mean? Like you have big purposes, and there's people that have to follow you through. Okay. It's making so much sense now. And so when we don't listen, we don't just affect ourselves. We affect everybody we're connected to, our family, our loved ones, those that can see our light. Because some people can't heal in my light, but they need your guys' light, or they don't want to. You know what I mean? And so that's how it works, is there's somebody for all of us. We all have a certain, like with just Saints, she heals a different aspect than Gigi would, and then Gigi would heal a different aspect than Amy would. And there's so many different groups that need different aspects of healing through the shadow and into the light that we all provide individually. It makes sense. And that's why the one-on-one academy is only for certain individuals and not something I will keep around forever. It goes into the group academy of light healers after that. I get it now, which I didn't before because I was just following the nudges. But it makes so much sense. And so it's more than just you guys witnessing. You guys are part of the 10 apostles. It's pretty beautiful in truth. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to miss God's. The people that fell off. So that's a little bit tricky, Amy. First of all, never reach your hand out to somebody. Do not ever message somebody, go, I want to do healing on you. Don't do that. Family and friends, you can be like, hey, can I do one on you just for practice? That's different. But for the people that fell off, here's the thing, is they went through certain portals and then they chose the shadow. Okay? And so that's why I just know what God tells me, and I know that some of their plans have changed. Some of their life purpose path has already changed. Because if you choose the shadow and you anchor in at a certain point, there's nothing we can do. And it's hard because we're healers and we care. We want to bring everybody through. And this is something I had to accept a long time ago, because one of my wishes was that everybody gets to ascend. And when I did the Nile, they told me not everybody can make it through all the gates. Okay. And so you do have your own, like, because if they were supposed to be part of the apostles or things, they had certain marks to make through God, right? Certain things to heal through their karma, for helping the collective soul. So they had people that were following them. Maybe those people can bypass and still get through you guys. Yeah. No, you guys can't do what I did, if that makes sense. They can't go through the portals like that through you guys. I hope that makes sense. But other individuals that are for you to bring through, yes. The ones that were supposed to do those with me, no. If those individuals ask for healing from you, you can only do through God. You can't decide what healings you give them, right? This is how I teach you. You can't say, well, I want to do this for this person, and God might say they can't receive it. Okay. So that's why I teach you the way I teach you. That's why you would let God. Nothing I do is from a book, right? In the academy, it's all through God, all through Creator, all through the angels, because they know more than we do about what people can receive and what they can't. You're welcome. So be very careful with that. You can't bypass what I have done, right? Not that I'm saying you would. And you can't bypass God. Like, we can't bypass their karma, which we don't know what it is. So let's just say they fell into the shadow way back in the time of Adam and Eve, or Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and they accidentally hurt God, or they did something to take themselves out of that light. They had to follow through in those portals. Each one of the workshops, you guys, was portal activations and healing that shadow. You guys went through diligently. And if you remember afterwards, you'd have to battle the shadow through each one. You can look back now and you can look at it and go, oh, shit, I did. You battled the shadow through each one. Each one that you went through, you were presented with a battle that was internal, of darkness and light, shadow and light. And you made the choices into the light. Even if maybe we fell off for a moment, we would always get right back on. We never went into judgment. And even if we did for a brief moment, it was like, oh shit, heal that and get right back on. So some people went into judgment, or there was a big chunk of judgment. Yes, and my goodness, it sucked. See what I mean? But that's for a reason. That's why I talk about the 13 gates. And that is a test from God in each one. And it does suck. It was sucked for me too. I did the same thing. My gates were a little different because it was Adam and Eve, Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and Sekhmet and Horus were my lifetimes. And it all goes with your lifetimes. And it makes sense now. It really does. So through each portal, you battle an internal battle of light and dark. And each one you have to choose the light. Let's say you made it through the first 3 portals, and then you battled something about money, and you decided, well, I need money more than I need this. Shit, that was a shadow piece. Or let's say you went into judgment. This bitch is crazy. God wouldn't do that. God wouldn't do drugs. God wouldn't have to battle drugs. There was something in that with that. Or, like, oh gosh, they didn't want to clear karma, or, ego, lots of different things, right? And it depends on which one you chose to how you get to move forward. And I remember God even telling people, hey, the path has changed, and that's okay. And we started saying a long time ago is like, you have to heal into these, heal now, keep healing. We've gotten to a certain point where I have done it all. And some of those portals, they can't like go back through all of that. So their path changed. And there's nothing we can do. So when you're a healer, just like I told you, Saint, and I'm going to tell you, and Gigi will learn too, because she just entered, and Lisa will learn, is that the way I teach you to heal is through God. It is a gift of God. And that is why I do the lay of the land, the laws, right? Is we never say, hey, I pick you to heal. I pick you to heal. I don't do that either. I put my light out there and I say, hey, I have a workshop coming. And those that feel that nudge show up. Yay. I know, right? No, it's like full circle moments too, because this is how Spirit taught me. But even others that might want to hear this too, because that's why I talk about is that if you're not healing in a certain frequency and certain DNA activations, you're not healing in light right now. So there's a lot of people on this planet that are not healing in light. Yeah, I'm so excited too. So the way that I teach is not easy, right? It's not like a book. I teach you to be vulnerable as all get out. You put out your light, say, I'm going to do healing this weekend for anybody that wants it. You have an avenue for people to purchase healings. You show them what you can do in a live or whatever, however you want to do that. And you allow those that are drawn to your light to come. Okay. Because otherwise it's like saying, hey, you have a message that I'm going to give you, and people may not be open to it. If people haven't gotten a certain amount of DNA activations on this planet, you are not healing in my light, in God's light, right? They're just not. And there's a lot of them. And if they're still doing theta from a book, if they're still doing certain things, they're not healing in God's light, because that's what I have changed. And I have opened up those gates, and we have undid all of the shadow, and you have to be receiving those DNA activations. And I can point out ones that are. There's one of them, Temple of Balance, I think is her name, and I see her on Facebook all the time. She's a pretty powerful healer. I would say you guys might be able to do more than she does, right? If you go through my academy, but I'm not saying she's not a good healer. I'm just saying she's actually getting the activations. I've watched her go through these things. I watch her, like one time she called off, she was getting the flu after one of the workshops that I did where we brought down more Christ light. And I'm like, oh, boom, she's healing. Like it was forcing her to purge. And I can see how she's changing and evolving. And she's like from the time of Atlantis. And so I can see it happening. I can see these starseeds and light workers healing into it, getting the activations and things like that. Then I can also see ones that are not, and they're reading baseline of the Akashic records. If you find somebody that can read the Akashic records and they're not telling you that these certain things have been done to the earth, they're not tuning in to the highest light. De La Roca can tell you we're in a time warp because he's reading the highest light. When I do these, I see God send out the signals to those that can be receptive. It's like, boom, they got a download. Boom, they got a download. Boom, they got a download. Soulful Revolution, she's just a channel tarot reader, but she can tune into that pretty damn well. She's pretty spot on with the twin flames and stuff. I've seen it. Landria Anka, she gets the downloads a lot as well. And they're specific areas, right? She's you can't manifest into the new earth, she says. You have to do these, you have to do that. She's spot on. Okay. And so they're there. You guys have had the activations. That's why you go through my academy. Okay. And that's God teaching you how to heal properly. So there's no book anymore. There's no third dimensional structure. And so that's why we always ask Spirit, okay, what do they need? I can't say, well, I want to give you this. Yeah, but it may be like 12 layers down the road. You know what I mean? And so that's why we do it the way we do it. But it does kind of help see that full perspective. Oh, okay, it makes sense now. So when you come from my academy, right, I try to set you up with those people. But beyond that, those are for free exchanges. You need to just put out an ad, put out a message, put out an offer, put out this through emails, through whatever. And those that will come will message you. Okay. There's a reason for that. It has to be through free will. Period. Okay. And the ones that were in my things going through the portals that had purposes through God, I'm kind of the only one who could bring that part about. But it doesn't mean you guys can't do certain healings or activations for others that are meant to follow your light. Okay. But you don't know who that is. Okay. So that would be like, well, I'm going to bypass this and we're going to do it on our own. But we can't do that. No. They had to go through God's plan. It is what it is. And that's hard. That's hard to accept. But that's free will, and that's God. You know what I mean? I've had to accept that a long time ago. I remember that. And I don't know. We shall see how everything goes. A lot of people just won't make it through. They either don't take it seriously, they're in judgment, they're not wanting the healings, they don't want to feel the pain of the healing because it's not easy. It's not an easy choice sometimes to make to clear that shadow. But I would make everybody if I could. So you guys want a free card really quick before we end today? You've been down here with me. If you're still here and you do, say I. Those that did the workshop with me can absolutely receive one. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I burped. That was a burp. I, woo, woo. All right, Amy and Gigi. Sweet. All right, let's do this then. Amy's first. We will do a divine energy oracle. Dun, 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 dun. I would also especially be very careful when you do healings because you don't know it. So here it is another aspect of that I want to tell you guys, especially Amy right now, Gigi for later, and even just sent right now, is if you go in to do healings for people, consider they are in their shadow, okay? I do have the link for my cards. Absolutely. I can try to get that for you really quick. They're in their shadow. And so remember the aspects of the shadow, okay? And Jacinta says, yes, please. All right. So remember the aspects of the shadow. Be very careful with that. Tread lightly with that. Do not get involved in their shadow because it will always try. So protections. Make sure you're grounded and let spirit guide the way, okay? Let me really quick get the link for my cards before I do the quick messages. Won't be too long. Bear with me. Hang on just a second because it's actually published somewhere. It's not on my website yet. I would like to be able to order a bunch of them myself and sell them through my website as well. And when I can do that, it might be a little cheaper. But I don't even have a deck yet. I printed them. They accepted my design and everything. And that was that. I'm like, oh, shit. So it's published. And I really want to take it to like Hay House and all those other ones too. But I just haven't yet. So let me find it right quick. See my shop. Here we go. So I'll just copy and paste it. This should take you right to it. So here is the link to my new deck. This one is the Ascension Portals. My first deck is on my website. I only have a couple of those left. I can order more. They didn't accept the design because I left it raw. I didn't want to change it because I hand drew them. And I did them in the energy of my original DM in our union. So those I didn't change. These I designed on the site, and they're really cool. I really want a deck. They are the ascension portals that Spirit had me do right before I did the Nile. And that's when I learned about the portals and the ones that I activated. So it was very relevant, and they came through the gods. Okay. So they're messages of the gods for awakening through the ascension portals. So even if you're doing healings, they'd be a really good tool to have. All right. So Amy, I will do first, and Gigi, and then just Sand. A really quick message. I do have my Lemuria deck here too. Okay. So I just want to say thank you for being with me, you guys. Okay. I appreciate you. I love you dearly, and I know it's not an easy journey. I know. So Amy did get my original deck. She says she loves those. They work very well. I'll pull that out too. Maybe do a message on those. It's a great, great deck to have. It really chill. I'm like, where's my deck, you guys? Oh my gosh, I don't see it anywhere. Oh my gosh. That's interesting. They come in a velvet bag, and I don't know where my deck went. Well, that's a little alarming. Here's the absolute original. These are the ones that I drew. So this was the original deck. And it's messages from my loved ones and guides. So I can pull from these too. But I don't know where my deck is, where it's in the velvet bag. Well, by golly gee gosh, that makes me feel uneasy. I'm going to have to find that. I don't know what happened to it. Weird, weird, and weird. So that's my personal deck. All right. So I will pull from this one too. I really like this one. This was my first created deck. Drew it by hand during the battle for my DM. It was pretty awesome. They're very powerful. They come in a velvet bag, and I can't find my deck. And I'm like, that's not sitting very well with me right now. I don't like that. So let's see what Spirit has to say. Oh, I see what these were. So you can actually purchase these, but the link that I put are my absolute new deck, and that's the Ascension Portal ones. All right. So Amy, justice. I'm hearing justice. So with it, this is like in the card of justice in the tarot deck. Justice talks about remembering, and this is what they told me too. It's like tread lightly. Did I play a part in maybe why my DM couldn't see clearly? Yeah, because we were attacked. Okay. And so what this is saying with justice is that nobody is innocent and nobody is always guilty. Okay. We take part in everything that happens to us. So when we look at things that way, we're able to heal those aspects within ourselves, which eliminates that cycle. Okay. Rather than look what they did, it's what can I heal that caused this in my life, right? What did I do to maybe cause this forward? Granted, the DM needs to make his own choices, okay? Did I cause him to maybe make a wrong choice? No. But could he not see clearly because of our path? Possibly, okay? So if I stay in balance because I did get out of balance when I was being attacked by that person, okay? And so it's kind of the same thing. I don't know what it means for your life right now, but the card of justice is in play. Keeping the mind of justice. Justice is clearing all aspects of what created it, okay? And we always take part. My grandma used to tell me that. Is you're responsible with what happens to you. And I had just got raped, and I was like, really, Grandma? That hurt. She was like, blaming me is the way I took that. But then again, if I didn't want to go hang out with those people, it wouldn't have happened to me, okay? So there's always an aspect of I created the scenario in some way, shape, or another. So it's the theme, though. It's a theme. They're not saying that. It's just a theme of your life right now. It's about justice being served. Okay? All right, and then I have these cards, and then I need one of these. And that's karma, right? You reap what you sow, kind of a thing, the same kind of thing. But justice is also about restoring balance. So they want me to mention that too. There's an idea of restoring balance, and we reap what we sow a little bit. So make sure you're always healing you is what that's about. It's not about, oh, it's your fault. There's no damn fault, okay? I'm just saying that in a general perspective to everybody. It's like, I do that. Like, oh, what did I do? It's my fault. Let's let go of that, okay? And I feel like it's more of an internal thing. Like, look what I did. No, there's no fault. It's just about being able to see clearly to make the right decisions in the moments that we need to. All right, so then we've got, oh, I like these. I like these a lot, Amy. Oh, yeah. Okay, those are very validating and spot on. I can't make these up if I tried. All right, stop. Look for the signs. Stop, collaborate, and listen, right? Look for the signs. In every moment, follow those nudges, follow the signs. But I think that's been said already, but it's just validating that, okay? And remember, the unbelievable always come through. Like, I can't believe that just happened. I can't believe that just happened. I love this card too. The unbelievable always comes through, right? Like, how did that happen? I can't believe that happened. It's the unbelievable. So make sure you're stopping to look for the signs and understanding anything is possible, okay? And justice, the shadow. So this talks about that. But there's also something not being seen, okay? So it's like I need to slow down a little bit, make sure I'm following those signs, make sure I'm following those nudges, because I do feel like there's a shadow aspect here that kind of got you a moment ago. And it's just about getting it gone, okay? And that's that justice. That's the justice card. And when we look at things as more of an internal journey than an external one, is where it's much more clear, okay? Here's this part, though, is like strengthening your gifts. I can't make this up. That is a necessity at this time, but you're doing that. You validated that. Make sure you're expressing your joy. I feel like we've gotten bogged down with the stressors of life. You got to make sure you're finding some joy and expressing your joy. And that comes with strengthening your gifts and shining your light. Okay? Because that's super, super important right now. Again, there's people that need you. You never know who they're going to be, though. Okay? But they will find you. Strengthen your gifts, express your joy, shine your light. And remember, the unbelievable always comes through. So that's expectations, right? To watch that. This stop is very important. That means make sure you are paying attention to God signs, because there's a shadow trying to deter you. Okay? So imagine solutions as you go, because we are creating a reality, right? And I have to do that. Okay? It's like, oh, I don't have this. I don't have this. Well, let's think of, I will have this way. I will have this way. I can see it coming through this way. Okay? So not letting the shadow sway you, because there's something we're not seeing because we were moving too quickly and focusing outward too much. Okay. So very important at this time. And within that, expressing your joy, that muscle. Remember I talk about that muscle? This is very validating. So strengthen your gifts, express your joy, imagine solutions. Okay. And again, they want me to reiterate, like, let's think of this way. If somebody went into judgment against God and did something over here, can you correct that for them? More than likely not. But that's just for those. There's other people, though, that you will bring through. You'll see the difference. You'll know what I'm talking about. Okay? I hope that makes sense. So you can't bypass God. You know what I mean? Ever. None of us can. That's that justice card. All right. I really like that message. But here's a big deal. Imagine those solutions. Instead of focusing on, well, I've got this going on, it's like, well, I want this. Let's imagine those solutions, because that will help create those for you. You're so welcome. But I think that's for everybody. When I say those things, that's also for everybody. Because there's that energy is like, well, maybe they don't want to get it from her, but I can do it for them. And God's like, tread lightly. Tread lightly with that. Because, yeah, this is not, it's not like a normal life, right? Any other time would be fine. But this is the ascension. So when you're doing a healing, you got to be really careful, Amy, because you've got that high priestess energy. So the shadow can really mess with you very easily without seeing it if you're not grounded and if you're not putting up those protections like crazy first. All right. So when I was first starting out, I put up so many protections and people wouldn't show up to my healing sessions. And I'd be like, thank you. Done with that one. Thank you, God. Done with that one. They would set an appointment and then I would be like, just put a white light around me and protect those that are for me and remove those that are not. And then this person wouldn't show up. And I would be like, yes, thank you for the protection. So be very careful with that because that's why that shadow card is here, right? I think it's important for you because that shadow can get you. It's difficult being a high priestess because you stand in between both worlds for a reason. But it also gives you easier access to be messed with by the shadow. Okay? Without knowing it. That's how it works. We never know. And then the next thing we know is like, bam! Shit, that just happened. Okay. So then we had Gigi and then Descent. Gigi. So ground like crazy and put up those bubbles of protection and ask God for them to be the ones that you can help and guide through and show you what you need to do. And you are golden from there. Exactly. That's what I'm meaning. You're too nice. And then you've got like that heart where you just want to help everybody, but you can't help everybody. I can't help everybody. But those that went to judgment towards me, it's going to be really hard for you to remove that. Okay. But there's a fine line there. That's why we let spirit guide us. And you have to make sure that you understand that we are here to help people clear their shadow. The shadow is not always nice. The shadow deals with judgment and money and all of these kinds of things, right? And so just make sure that you're letting spirit guide you, putting up your protections. And we have to understand that we can't save everybody. It's through them saving themselves through free will. Okay? That's something I had to learn a long time ago too. It's not like a target. It's something we all have to learn for sure. And Gigi's coming into play. I'm feeling the crows and I'm like, do we have to do another crow? And they said, yes. Okay. Crow card. And I'll put it this way, Amy, is you're nice sometimes until enough people have hurt you. But we don't need that, right? We don't want that. Once enough people have hurt you so much, then you start getting like more and more guarded. And we can bypass all of that. Just put up your protections and allow God to guide who's for you. Make sure you're grounded, because if you're not grounded, then that shadow can really mess with you. Theirs or yours. Okay, I hope that helps. Because that's the way I was too. I was like, I want to help everybody. I love everybody. I have a heart of gold. And, you can see their heart. You can see why they do things. And because of that, it's like, well, I can help you. But maybe they don't want the help yet. And maybe they're just there to take your light. We don't really know their intentions. And that's that shadow. And if you're not grounded, it's harder to see their intentions clearly. And we don't want to get in judgment either. So it's like this fine line, right? It's like this dance. And that's why it's really important to ground. I hope that helped. That makes sense to me. Helps me a lot understand it. All right. Gigi, are you still with me? I've got a couple cards I'm already pulling for you. Getting towards anyways, I should say. Woo! Oh. Powerful changes. Yes. All right. Because right away I'm like, powerful changes. There's a lot going on. You're in a little bit of a void. Okay. Because the activations we did, especially from the academy and then from yesterday. So you're in like an integration period. So it's going to feel at times where you may not be connected, but you are. You are absolutely connected. You, very much so. And I got chills when I said that. Very much so. So, in other words, your words are heightened, right? So, always speak of love, love of self, especially creating a reality that way. But you are in a bit of a void where it's going to feel like at times you're not connected. But I'm validating that you are. Okay. Um, and so, powerful activations. These are of another kind. This is like, whoa. So you're well aware of what you went through. The power you've called back is not little. So it's going to take a good 3 months or so to really feel that shift. Little void, and then a little bit of a dark night of the soul for integration and purging the rest of that shadow. But you've already done it, so just let things go. That's it. Okay, there's one more of these, and then I got to pull the crow. So the crow is still very, very relevant for you. 2 more of those. Very relevant for you at this time. Very, very relevant. Find the balance. All right. Find some balance. So ask Creator for nudges. What should I do today? Right. Follow your heart nudges a little bit. I still feel like there's like creativities that are an expression of your light. So find some balance within those as well. And then the dirt. You do very good with earth, planting, creating herbs, those kinds of things. Start doing that now. I feel like after everything you just went through, you can literally go, what can I create to heal this? And you might get some insight. Okay. So start doing that now that'll help you be in balance. And you are making the right choices. Absolutely making the right choices. This is a very validating experience that whatever is guiding you is accurate. Okay, just follow it. You've been making the right choices this whole time. Okay, so they want to say that. There is not one choice you didn't make that was right because it got you to where you are today. You're making the right choices the whole time. So trust the guidance that comes up for you, even if it's something like you've never done or off the wall. And it's important to look deeper. So this is a well. This reminds me of emotions. So there's still something buried in emotions that will continue to rise. So let's just say loved ones or relatives or things come up and you have to make a decision. Know that you're making the right choices, but make sure you're going underneath the emotions of things. So for instance, if it's something that triggers an emotion, make sure you sit with it and you look a little deeper, right? Or if you ask spirit for something and you're not getting an answer, know that you're doing the right thing. Just give it a moment and look a little deeper. Okay? Those are very relevant right now. It's like taking your time with things and making sure emotions aren't getting in the way. Because when we heal, emotions rise and they can be blinding. Or when trauma happens, emotions rise. And I'm not saying trauma is going to happen at all. I don't see that. But I'm just saying if something emotional occurs, or if somebody else is hurting and that's our loved one and we just don't want them to hurt, it's important to sit with that so that you can see clearly. Okay? You are making the right decisions. You're very wise within that. You know what your heart sings. So just make sure you're finding the balance. But something in that balance has to do with creation. So maybe it's time that you start making something, okay, within that light. Like there's no reason to wait is what Spirit's saying. You've already getting enough activations and it's something to start integrating. And it might actually come out in your courses in the one-on-one. Because in the one-on-one academy, it's a general and then it's tailored specifically to you. Okay, so there will be a couple courses that do come out or things that I have to teach you that are about you. So let's just say Spirit says, hey, do this, and you don't have all the answers. They will come. Just start with what you got. Okay. That's why I love the work that I do. Spirit will work through all of us at the same time. So when we try to bypass Spirit is when we're kind of mucking it up, right? I hope that makes sense. And also, what would Jesus say? Always worship God only, not the angels. The angels can be false. We can be channeling the wrong energies. So that's why it's also good to take it deeper. Okay. because that's what happened to John the Apostle. He followed the angel instead of God. He worshipped an angel, and he ended up worshiping the fallen angel and killing Jesus. Okay. So angels can also be call on the Creator first. Always through Creator. Sit with things for a minute. Okay. Very important. All right, there's another in here. It's just like, woo, there it is. Oh, of course, nature. That's what I was talking about in here. Like I saw that in those cards is like dirt, the earth. Being in nature is your medicine, but you're also a medicine maker. Okay. There is a little resistance because you're in a void. So this is just very much so validating that. But they're also saying pay attention to where you feel resistance. Take a step back and look a little deeper. Okay. But trust yourself over anybody else because you are being validated that you see clearly and can make the right decisions. Okay. So this is part of that. So where you see resistance within you or others, you need to look a little deeper. Take a step back. Okay. And here's that curiosity card. All right. Curiosity works both ways. There's going to be people that are curious about you because you're shining your light. So that's a good thing. That's why we see all these out here. It's like curious. They're curious about what you're doing, but you're up here in the front line willing to take the risks. Okay. So allow curiosity to guide you. Like, I'm a little curious about this. Maybe I should learn about this. That's a nudge of that. It's a nudge of education. It's a nudge of experience. Okay. But then remember, there's these people back here that are actually more curious in you than you realize. They're watching what you're doing. So that's why it's super important to shine your light, but also don't let them misguide you. That's where this card is coming into play, that you make the right choices. Because as a shadow piece, it works through individuals who are willing to pick up that energy. Remember, I talk about that. It's never to insult anybody. This is what we all have to learn. I call it the asshole energy. Our loved ones can choose to pick up the asshole energy. And it's as simple as a doubt that enters their mind or a judgment that enters their mind. And they can cut themselves off from the light that way. It's just what it is. So that's what this 11 really talks about. It's like an ascension portal. It's an understanding that it works both ways. Okay. So making sure you're in balance. I talk about balance being our protector, right? Because when I got out of balance is when it really hurt me and it hurt my DM. It did. That's why I don't think God is like, he's done. Okay. I don't think he was seeing everything clearly. So when we're in balance, we see clearly. We can see dangers coming more clearly. Okay. And to know that you make the right decisions, not necessarily those that are curious around you. All right. So never let them misguide you. Keep in a curious space of learning and gathering, because you've got creations here that are through the light that will help the collective soul in a very big way. I don't know if you really realize that yet, but whatever you do create, write it down. Write the recipes down. Write what you channel down, because there's something here. It's very big. Okay. There's a creation here. It's and I said that. This is a really good message, Gigi. I like it a lot. Okay. Pay attention to where there's resistance and trust your instincts over others, because you are guided and you've already shown that you can trust yourself. Okay. Whenever there's resistance, look a little deeper and question it. Question why, because it might be a shadow piece coming through somebody else, and not in necessarily intention, you guys. We do this subconsciously, okay? Sometimes consciously to those that are truly not of the light, but if they're of the light, we pick it up subconsciously, okay? But be curious. Make sure that you're picking up any information, you're learning, you're trying to understand why people do what they do, because that will help you see the shadow component clearly in others too. Okay. And then there's this big thing with nature and your balance. There's something you need to be creating from nature. You heal in nature and you use nature to heal others, and maybe not like in the way the descent does, but in your own way. Okay. This is really beautiful. And you'll pick up on that more as you go through the academy too, they're saying. So, does that make sense? It's a really cool message. I may have lost you, Saint. She's probably busy. It's been a long live, but I really appreciate it though. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense because it does for me. Okay. So if Jacinth is still here, let me know. I know I love that too. It was a really good message. It was multi-layered message. It was a really good one. And so I'm glad these are on videos too, because you guys can come back and watch your little part. You know what I mean? So wait. So Jacinth, are you still here? I know it's been a long video and she's waiting till the end to receive her message and she's probably doing all kinds of stuff. I know it's sometimes a lot to sit with me on these, but I really appreciate you guys doing so. And then yesterday, the workshop was 2 hours long, you guys. It was not a short one. Part of it, I was crying a lot in the beginning and it hurt really bad. And even God was like, you don't have to do it. And it did hurt me. I got a little brain bleed, but I think that's from the blood clot that I had the last time too. Oh, so Jacinta's here. Connection is delayed and so is her chat. Oh, Gigi says the crow were really crawling at her this morning. Absolutely. Have you looked them up for a spiritual meaning yet? The crows are so connected. I had one person tell me they're just birds, Brie. And she was in that academy and I'm like, no, they're not. Nothing is just something. Everything is complicated if it's connected to God. It's way more than just simple. I love it. Jacinta is ready. She is here. So even if she is delayed, I am at least validating that. It got really hot. Woo! I turned my AC down. Hold on. Dude, I love the fact that this third eye thing came out. Like, I had no idea that was even relevant or going to happen yesterday. That makes me feel so proud of myself. And I love my DM so much. So I don't want to lose him. I don't blame him and I don't want to lose him. So I just had to throw that out there. All right. Transitioning into Miss Jacinth's energy. First of all, Spirit actually wants to say thank you. And I say thank you. From the bottom of my heart, Jacinth, I don't really think you realized that yesterday I was in a very lonely spot and I didn't even have to reach, like you were there. And so I just want to say thank you. And all of you were there for me in that workshop, but I'm not sure if I would have even had the strength to get there, but somehow she just knew. And so I just want to say thank you for that. And from Spirit too. Okay. That's very relevant. You need the Lemuria deck. Let me grab that really quick. Okay. So I can pull one of my cards for you and the Lemuria deck. So there is cause for celebration, Jacinth. Hopefully you'll get this message. I know it's a bit delayed, but there is cause for celebration, okay? You have reached large places. You have soared very farther than you know. So what Spirit is telling me is that there's more than you know that you have done. Like you don't understand the full aspect ratio of the brevity of what you have accomplished. It's still processing within your system, but they want you to celebrate. They want you to the chills. Take some time to celebrate your accomplishment because you went farther than you know. You undid more than you know. So make sure you take the time to celebrate. It's a necessity, and I know that's hard because you are humble upon humble upon humble. But they are literally saying you deserve it. It's important for you to celebrate this because they are celebrating you. And it's also a part of your balance. Yes. So make sure you are celebrating to help you stay in balance right now, okay? Because you've done it. Like you've done so much more and not just for you. Not just for you. Oh, the chills that I get when I say that. Whew, you didn't just affect you. No, you did a lot for the collective soul as well. Okay. And that of your ancestors. So make sure you're taking the time to celebrate you. Like literally, that's really. There's a surprise coming too. Like I just dropped cards twice. And I'm like, what does this mean? So there is like a very sudden surprise energy also coming your way. Okay. This is nothing negative. It's a positive. All right. Just saying, very surprise energy coming your way. So just be open. See what I mean? That's 3 times they came flying out like popcorn, but these are relevant. Focus on your health. Okay. Take some time to reconnect, to celebrate you and focus on your health. But I feel like that is something you are doing. Just make sure it's an internal focus. Okay. And memories of love are important. This is what I'm talking about. This is like a celebration card. Focus on the beauty, the accomplishments that you have had. That is not a joke. That is something that's needed for the balance. Okay. Because you're a little out of balance with that. It's like you really do. It's a part of healing. It's a part of being able to see fully what you have done, because you don't see fully yet what you have done. You helped heal a lot for the collective soul. I know what you have done, but you're still like, I'm just me. You know what I mean? Memories of love are important at this time. Celebrating you and your accomplishments are important at this time. And then surrendering to the necessary changes. So here's the thing about that. And that's why this one's like a tightrope. You see, he can't go backwards. There's like this wall here now. He cannot go backwards. So no matter what you do, you've gone so far, you can't go backwards. And we have to, here's the thing about it is like when we ascend, I've had this happen to me. It's like you try to be your old self. I try to do things like I know how to do things. I don't know how to do them any other way. And Spirit's like, we can't do it that way anymore. That's that wall, right? It's like a blockage. I can't do things the way I once did them because you are literally in the gates of heaven. You literally are. Okay, so they want you to celebrate, focus on the joys that are all around you, allowing this to help keep you healthy, right? Making sure you're calming your space. Like there's nothing urgent that you have to do other than shining your light when Spirit nudges you to, right? And learning, strengthening that muscle is in there. But right now, it's truly about that integration. You see the triangle with the eye on here too? It's very relevant for today. Yes, exactly. I know this. She says, celebrating my accomplishments is a bit challenging because it's difficult to fathom all that I've been told I did. Exactly what I said in this message is like you don't see the full gamut of what you've done yet because you need to be able to take the time to see the beauty in who you are in this moment in time, to recognize all the accomplishments that you have gone through. And this requires reflection. It's like a reflective period. I am reflecting on the things that are here in the now. I am reflecting on my past to this moment. And I feel like that's why I had to show you that full circle moment that you showed me today. You didn't even realize you showed that to me. And it went with Fiji and Mount Shasta from the first time to this time, which was, I was like, sweet. I love that. So know that you can't go backwards. You are already through the gates. You were the first one through. You and I, baby. I just opened them. So a lot of people have not gone through yet. But that's the energy I'm talking about. Like you can't go backwards, right? And so when you find yourself trying to do things in the ways that you would do them before, like with a focus of money first, is wrong. It should always be a focus of joy first. What are my joys? What is my heart-centered action? And money is a byproduct. When we are in those gates and true abundance and true manifestation capabilities, abundance is there. Joy is yours. It's like a birthright. But as long as you're focusing on your heart center, staying in balance, those are a byproduct. Okay? Spirit knows what you need. And it's to call it out. Like, okay, I need this money for this. Da 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 da. Show me how to do it. Spirit says do this, and you're like, okay. And the money may not come right that day. Trust me, I know this. That's where expectations will bite you. But let me tell you, it comes right when you need it through that avenue you created because you followed that light. Okay. It's a different world. It's not third dimensional. We are not living to pay anybody else's pocket. Nobody is an unequal here. Okay. Like we're all loved. We're all celebrated. Nobody should have to suffer ever again. Okay. So abundance is a given. So never focus, well, I have to get this money, so I have to do this way. Or I don't have enough money, where God says, what? Sure you do. What do you need? Shine your light. Be in your heart center, because why? Love, heart center, it's the vibration of the new planet. It's a higher vibration for manifesting, and the rest doesn't exist anymore anyways. That's what I mean. You can't go backwards. Okay. So now you have a Lumeria card. Trust the flow. So again, your like whole reality shifted. And I feel like there's going to be energy of trying to do things the way we once did, and it's not going to work. But that's a reason for that. Okay, that's this card. Surrender to the necessary changes. Allow spirit to guide you in those moments. Okay, what do I need to do? Take a step back. And you're really good at doing this because you are so connected to the earth. But making sure you're focusing on love, the things in the moment, the beauty in the moment when those come through. Okay. Oh, and then they do want me to say, don't be afraid of a twin flame journey. So when you become a twin flame in your next lifetime, all of this strife will be gone. It is a beauty. It is a beautiful acceptance. It is a beautiful journey. It is a beautiful creation. Okay. It's nothing to gawk at. It means you're up with God. You've become a more expansive being. Okay. That's what it talks about. So don't worry about that. The struggles that I have are getting it out of third dimensional realm, out of the muck and out of the separation that was created by not God. Okay. So I feel like you have fear in there, and it's not relevant. It's not real. All right. And it's nothing you will ever have to experience, because you are now officially a twin flame, just not yet in this lifetime. But the energy is there. So you're expanding into more of a supreme being. Okay. And I think I told you that. We did a workshop where they gave you that gift. Yeah. All right. What else does she need to see? All right. Mm-hmm. So this is just validating everything I just said. Be in balance. You see the dolphins up there? Life force energy is all about balance in the new earth, okay? And I had somebody once tell me, well, I know people who are rich and their chakras aren't open. And I said, well, they won't make it to the new earth that way, okay? We have to be in energetic flow and expand our energy into the creation of the one, or we don't stay, period. Okay, that's the ascension. That's why you have to get the DNA activations. That's why they push so hard to not allow you to, right? But this is just a collective also. But life force energy talks about maximum everything and the expansive energy of balance and life flow. Okay. And this is where your capabilities are at right now. Like, look, there's so much in this card. There's a pyramid behind her. There's the dolphins in balance. And there's all the layers of the energetic flow, the ethereal. This is beautiful because you are in the presence of the infinite. President? Wait. My head is a little funky. Presence. You are in the presence of the one. You are in the energy of the infinite. Sorry. My head did get messed with yesterday. You are in the energy of the infinite. You guys, you know what I just noticed too? Is look at the bottom of this card. You see that little beetle? I just got an onk because I was scared my DM wasn't going to show up and bring me one, and he didn't yet. But here is one on my onk. I knew I picked this out for a reason. This is the only cross that matters. There's this beetle there. And I looked it up what it means. And it talks about immortality, okay? The infinite. There is no end. And you see all the DNA activations in here, you guys? Like, I can't make this up to the message that I've been giving you. You have to get the DNA activations. Look at the infinity symbol. That is what I just did to the sun and the moon. Okay? The infinite. You are in the presence of the creation, of the one. To be in balance and to be open in an expansive state. Okay? So expand the mind. Make sure you're in balance. All right? And know that you can't go backwards. So slowing down and focusing on your health, your internal soul, and making sure you're shining your light where you need to. Okay. This is a really beautiful message, actually, because life force energy and the infinite. And if you look really closely to the images in this thing, I can't make it up for what I just did. And the fact that you were the first one through the gates. Because you did it. You did way more than you think you did, and that you know. That's why it's time to look backwards to where you started and to do a review. Okay. So that's what this one also talks about, right? Giving myself time to look back and look at all of the things that I have done and to celebrate those things because it's way more detailed. Look at all these details. Look at all these details. Boom. Okay. You're so welcome. I got so many chills on that message too. That was quite beautiful. Now I can't get it out of my head that I am missing my deck. This one is the actual one I drew. This is my, what you call it? My brain's not working. Not the one I printed. This is the one I drew. So I need to find the one I printed. I'm a little upset. I'm like, what happened to it? Where did it go? Oh my. It's in a velvet bag. The cards that I did, you guys, I did put a link in there for my newest creation. This was my first one, which I still have a couple available on my website. There's only a couple of those left, though. So if you want those, you may buy those. Okay. And thank you. If you also are a part of my monthly, you get that discount on my website, so use it. Yeah. This was beautiful, you guys. So I pray for the DM. I don't want to lose him. I hope you can hear that. I don't want to lose him. God chose him for a reason, and I can't see anybody else coming in at this point. So just want to get that out there. Mount Shasta was way bigger than what I expected. Full circle moments all the way from back to the beginning of my journey. And so hopefully everybody can see clearly now so that they can know what they need to do. All right. If you were ever at Mount Shasta, purge that energy or it will become you. All right. So much love, you guys. If those actually watched this whole video, is 2 hours long. Thank you. And I love you guys dearly. I couldn't be me without you guys. Okay. I'm hungry now. I'm going to go eat, love on my chitlins, clean house, and pray for my DM. And I will see you guys next time. I love you. Thank you.